Alright, I was planning on doing a bit of a more comedic video for the format change, but there's something a bit more serious going on right now, so I'm going to do what I can to express what I need to express in one go. And I would love to do that on on a social media site, but there are just some things where I have like a page or more of things to say, and on the internet, there aren't any good text based websites to do that. So, right now, it is the 2020 general election in the US, and we already know it's the highest turnout election in 100 years, possibly 120. And you know, we should be doing whatever we can to make sure that turnout is always this high. Uh, so the only thing I can really contribute to that is the general election is always the first Tuesday of November every other year. For those of you that have elections in odd years, I really don't understand why the people in those states put up with that. That's one reason I don't really want to move to Virginia ever. At least here in Minnesota, you get a chance to take some of the you get some time without yard signs. But this election is one of the most consequential, if not the most consequential. And as I am filming this, the counts are still coming in 6 states. But there are only 2 that I am looking at right now, and that is Nevada and Georgia. If either of these 2 get called for Joe Biden, we're done here. It's over. Pack your bags, stop doom scrolling, and move on. Okay? Hopefully, we don't have a campaign that is nearly this chaotic ever again. Now, in Minnesota, our state went to Biden, and I'm not really surprised by this. It went by about the margin that Nate Silver was predicting, and we were probably the only swing state, that is, that actually did that. The thing about Minnesota is Trump gained more support in rural areas, but it wasn't nearly enough to counter the swing in suburban areas like the one I am sitting in. And this is very apparent with Minnesota's congressional 3rd district. I have never seen so many people running away from the Republican Party so fast in my entire life. Yeah. So there's that. All right, and I'm not going to put much effort into the editing of this particular video. I just want to get it out there as quickly as possible. Yeah, so that's the 2020 election itself. From a national perspective, in Minnesota, we are sure that the House, the DFL is going to keep the House. For those of you that don't know, the DFL is the Democratic Party of Minnesota. That's what they like to call themselves sometimes. They're going to get the House, and we're pretty sure the Republicans are going to keep the state Senate, but we're not absolutely sure yet, but that's a pretty safe thing to predict. The congressional races went about as well as you would expect. It's either going to be our House delegation is either going to be an even 4-4 or a 5-3 with 5 Republicans and 3 DFL. We have 8 districts, right? Yeah, we have 8 congressional districts. And just that one of those districts is basically a fluke. They ran a third-party candidate and tried to, siphon votes away from one of the DFL candidates. It might work, it might not. We don't really know yet. So going forward, the state's pretty much going to run the same as it has before. We have some stability. We know what to expect. What's going to happen in Minnesota over the next 2 to 4 years is going to depend on what the federal government does about some very important issues and how much they can help us with those things. As far as the presidential election is concerned, it was closer than most Americans were expecting it to be. I would say it would be, actually, I think it was closer than pretty much all Americans thought it was going to be. But I know some of you are superstitious about people who predict optimistic things or pessimistic things, depending on where you land on the political spectrum. I think it's pretty safe to say that Joe Biden will be the next president. He will be inaugurated on January 20th, 2021. It's not certain yet, but it seems to be getting closer to certainty. So, there are definitely a lot of you who are concerned that Trump will try to sabotage the election. Despite all of his efforts to do that already, he's down to his last resorts. There are going to be some court cases, but there's not a good chance those are going to change the outcome. And the reason for that is, at a certain point today, once the ballot counts stop, it'll give Joe Biden enough electoral college votes. There are some conspiracies about using Sharpies in Arizona. Those ballots still count. There are some concerns about the United States Postal Service not delivering some ballots yet, despite being told by a judge to do that. Those are going to be the hanging chads. And if they're all collected and delivered, it's going to go to Joe Biden. And even if they're not, the outstanding ballots that were cast are mostly in urban areas, in very high populated areas that tend to favor the Democrats. to anyone who is a Republican and watching this video, the sooner you just accept that Joe Biden is going to win this thing, the better off you're going to be. You just gotta get into that headspace, or you're going to be very upset. There's a better way for you to handle a loss than throwing a massive tantrum. It's just not good for you to deny when you're not gonna get your way. You should have learned that as a kid, but better late than never, I suppose. The way the presidential race stands, Donald Trump is down to Hail Marys, and he is not Aaron Rodgers. So, there will probably be a recount in Wisconsin, not very likely to change the outcome. And in a very unlikely scenario, the Supreme Court could try to reject ballots that were already cast, but that's never been done before. Even in 2000, all they did was stop counting, and now you have the presidential winner. There are some eerie similarities to 2000, but if the Supreme Court goes as far as to invalidate votes that have already been cast and counted, then suddenly you're going to have a country that doesn't see a president's power as legitimate in any way. You won't just have Republicans complaining about voter fraud. Everyone will do that, and that's not good for anyone. I will say that voting this year in Minnesota was really easy. They give you 3 options. You can mail the ballot. You can request a no excuse absentee ballot and mail that in. You can vote early in person, and you can vote on election day in person. And the third one, you can also register to vote on the same day. Minnesota also has a motor voter registration law, but not all of the DMVs will ask you to do that, even though they should. But at the end of the day, or week, or month, when this is all done, we're going to be very tired. And I think it's safe to say right now, we're already very tired of this election and the campaign. And just to lower the amount of exhaustion that you're gonna feel, and some of you will take that and turn it into anger. Like I said, Nevada or Georgia, either of those are called for Joe Biden. It's over. Arizona also has some outstanding ballots. The AP called that one for Joe Biden, but the TV networks haven't done that yet, except for Fox News, which works with the AP or the Associated Press. Very weird relationship, but okay. But yeah. And, tonight, I was freaking out a lot. And the reason for that was there appeared to be a blue mirage. I wake up the next day and it's a red mirage. And I'm freaking out about that one too. I guess you can already kind of tell who I am supporting at this point, who I want to win. But I'm going to end this particular video here. There is an Oreo commercial that I want everyone to see. The link to that is going to be in the description. And I cried when I saw it. This video, despite wanting you to buy some mass-produced, very unhealthy cookie, struck a chord, and at the end of the day, that commercial is what we should strive for as a country, Republicans and Democrats working together to get their cookie. That's my Minnesota perspective, and I will see you in the next video.